Welcome back to part 2 of my animal shaker key rings. I have gone ahead and trimmed up all the overpaw from the edges of all of these. I have left one to show you how I have done that. I use a mixture of tools depending on the shape of the item, the amount of overpaw. To start with, I'll just pick at it like that, push it backwards, because sometimes it will just peel off. Other tools that I would use are cuticle removers, but I would only use that on a straight edged item or a coaster, possibly because it's a large curve. I don't want to use it on these small curves. The other tool, and this is the tool that I did use mostly, is the deburring tool. I'm not as experienced in using a deburring tool as a lot of creators out there, so I go just very gently with it, and I don't just go like that initially. I go very gingerly with it because I'm scared of gouging a hole into the item. So the way that I do it is I go with the back edge below, so that if I do gouge any holes, it will be on the back and not the side, because I don't want the sides to have any gouges either, never mind the front. If I am going to make any gouges, I want it to be more on the back. So the way I do it is I have it kind of angled so that if I do dig in, I will dig in more that way. But I don't press hard, I just kind of gently rub it along, and by forcing the overpaw to fold over, it can then sometimes just be snapped off. There you go. So yeah, it did do a little bit of shaving of the actual item, but most of the overpaw just, it got that crease. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. It got that crease. I perforated it. So going back along it, feeling for any bits that can just be picked off. I'll leave the ears for now. There's a bigger bit of overpaw there, so I'll do that. If I'm having difficulty, then I will turn it over and just gently rub it the other way, and that can be enough to perforate that crease enough to pull it off. So then for any less obvious bits of overpaw, so you can barely see it but you can feel it, that's where I just go round it with an emery board, and very gently on a very steep angle so that I'm not scratching the side. Just very gently. Sorry, I'm stuck for words today. You know what I'm doing though. Okay, that all feels good. Just have a look at the back and just give it a wipe off. Okay, yep, that looks good. Don't worry about the fact that I've put the paws inside. They're not staying in there. I'm not going to accidentally leave them in there. I just put them there to remind me which ones had black, which ones had pink. So if I move, actually, if I put them on the head, because I'm going to deal with the shaker parts first, because I'm going to attach the heads and the paws as the last jobs so that I can maneuver these around a bit more easily. These are the embellishments, inserts, I don't know, I can't think of the word off the top of my head. Okay, so this is going to be fun. I've got too much choice now. So I will start with I want to try and choose contrasting colours, so I don't want anything really pinky in that one, for example. So I will start with some pinky ones in there. I'll put a couple in there just because they're rabbits. Right, I'll just try and pick up a couple more of these. The next thing to do is put the tape on, but before we do that, we need to give them a wipe over with a dryer sheet to de-static them. So I have a dryer sheet here. Now I believe that these have a film on both sides. If I'm wrong, there's a film on at least one side. At least the tape hasn't ruined, you know, it hasn't left any residue on the side that didn't have a tape. Give them a rub over with a dryer sheet to prevent static with the sprinkles. Our plan is to stick these on with UV resin, obviously cure it. I've just realised, are these supposed to be dry shakers? Because there's no hole to inject the liquid into after you have put the sheet on. Well, that saves a decision for me, because I'm a bit scared to fill them with liquid in case I don't seal them correctly. But I was hoping that there would at least be the option to do that later. But never mind. Right, so here's a little issue. When you put your acetate over a shaker, if you were cutting your own, you would cut it so that the acetate only comes halfway over that wall, so that when you do your UV resin, your resin goes over the acetate and seals around the edge of the acetate. These have been cut perfectly to size for the outer edge. So I think these will probably need a flood coat, which is not something I'm comfortable with yet. Also, another thing is, when you have the acetate coming right to the edge, there is risk of that being caught on things and then lifted up. So as well as sealing in any liquid, if you were doing a liquid shaker, you've got the extra protection by only going halfway of that never sticking over the edge slightly and getting caught on things. So I am going to have to be extremely precise with positioning these, which again is not something I'm comfortable with. I am a bit clumsy, and if you've read my full channel description, you'll know that I have said I am not the most artistic person, and I'm not brilliant at getting flawless results. So I'm a little bit nervous about being able to get these exactly in the correct position now. But we shall do our best, and obviously you will do your best, and if your best is better than mine, excellent, go for it, and don't pay any attention to the end result of mine. If you can get flawless results by watching and learning from me, whether that be to get inspiration for a project, or whether that be you already had inspiration for the project but you didn't know exactly how to execute it, perhaps you will learn from my mistakes. Let's see. I'm going to go very gently, very precisely with a toothpick. Well, it's as neat as I can get it. Hopefully it's neat enough. I'm a little bit confused. They've actually ended up having 9 minutes because I've got busy looking up how to flood coat them, and they still feel the tiniest bit sticky on the edges. What I'm confused about is I bought keychain making set, so I have a bunch of these, and I have a pack of these which has the eye the hook and jump rings, but I don't seem to have any screws with the eyelets. I have those, but they're just chains, so I'm a little bit confused how I'm going to make these into keychains. I'll just put them to one side for the moment and leave that out for the moment. I think let's just finish off the actual characters and deal with making keychains at a later date. Right, that's thrown me off now. I don't know what to do next. Blood coating videos that I saw, they didn't look like they were two-piece shakers like these are. So I think what I'm going to do is attach the characters to the hearts, and I'm going to use B7000 glue. I've never used this before. It says leave 1 to 2 minutes to allow bonding. I think so. I'm going to have to get the head the correct way for a start. Right, I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to hold them up in that position. Do it on the head, and then I don't go too far around on the heart. I don't know how much coverage to give. Just a thin line down the middle, and then maybe spread it outwards a little. Or do I just let it spread itself when I press it on? I held them for a minute or so, and then I propped them up in here. So that one, propped it up after a minute or so whilst I started gluing this one, and then propped that one up here. And then by the time I had glued this one, I was able to move the panda out and etc. So rotation system going on, and I'm not going to try pressing it to check that it is fully secured. It said 1 to 2 minutes. It's been at least 5 minutes on this first one. So I'm going to now start gluing on their paws. Obviously for these I can leave them laid down. So there you go, like that, I believe. I'm just wondering whether I should flood coat them before putting them on, because if I flood coat with them on, the resin will either have to come up and over these, or they'll just get missed off completely. If I don't put them in within the flood coat, they could just pop off at some point. You know what, it's my first time. I'm going to do what I think is right this time, and obviously if I'm wrong I will know for next time. When you go into flood coat, you need to protect the underneath, because the resin will run down the sides, and if you don't protect, well, whether you've protected the bottom or not, it'll run down the sides and then it'll run underneath before it drips off. Sorry. So you need to protect the bottom so that the drip lumps and then just be peeled off. This is my first time doing this as well. Apparently this liquid latex really stinks. Now you don't have to use liquid latex. I just fancied trying it, but apparently any PVA glue will do. Oh, they're not wrong, it does stink. This is, did I say this is liquid latex? It was about £6 or £7 I think for this bottle. Right, here goes. Shucks, that comes out faster than I expected. Oh my. Ah! Right, I didn't expect this. I don't want that on the sides because I want the resin to stick on the sides. Well, at least we know that this will peel off. It's not like I've let resin go flying everywhere. That is way too thick. Let's see if I can scoop some of this back up. Let's see if I can scrape some of this off as well. Obviously the thicker it is, the longer it's going to take to dry. I think I cleaned it off okay. Let's be more careful this time. Okay, right, let's see how long that should take to dry. 2 minutes to an hour depending on thickness, temperature and airflow. Thinner layers more quickly. A fan or a hairdryer can be used to expedite. Warmer temperatures will speed it up. Okay. Right, it's probably going to be after my evening meal time now before I get to come back to it anyway. So I'll see you when I see you. You'll see me in a jiffy. I think we are going to have a couple of keychains, but I think I might do a couple as magnets as well. They look so cute. They're quite big as keychains actually, but I would be more inclined, and my daughter would be more inclined to use them as bag charms. So let's see. Now I have to decide which ones would be keychains and which would be magnets. I'll do that as a magnet, seeing as that's going to be awkward to put a keychain on, even though I really like the colours of that. I wouldn't have minded that as a bag charm. I'm just going to put them upside down because it's annoying when the latex is sticking to the mat. Okay, so before I drill the holes, the screws, I'm going to attach a couple of these handmade with love charms. Shall I do that higher up? Yeah, if that's going to go on the screw. Yeah, let's do this from the top one. Cute. So this drill is from Amazon with the Allen key stored away in the bottom there. So you use that to loosen these clinging things at the side. Just check it's charged up. Yeah. Oh, mask. Those are my tiny magnets. Right, let me think about this. I need to mix up some epoxy, find something to stand these on. How big are these? Yeah. Oh, the latex. Oh, because of it catching on the silicone mat, it's lifted up the latex a little. Do you know what? I can't redo them. I can't. That'd be the one I would keep anyway. I imagine my daughter would want the cat. Now I need a drip tray as well. I just want to make sure I've got everything organised before I mix my epoxy. Because if I mix my epoxy and then realise I've forgotten something, I will end up losing working time. This is only good for 2 of them. Right, 2 of my experimental coffee cup coasters. Please see videos 2 and 3 to see what they're all about. I'm sorry guys, like I say, I've never done this before. So how much resin do I need? I shall mix up 40 millilitres. Let's do that. I can always mix more. I've just had a thought about these screws. I don't want them that close to the piece. When I flood it with resin, that's likely to come over. But at the same time, I don't want to have it stuck out too far. I was going to maybe leave it stuck out that far so that the resin would drip down it, but then that would set it in place. Or would I be able to screw it in? I don't know. Oh dear me. I'm going to take them out. And if I have to drill again, then I have to drill again. I just hope I can drill back in the same place. Indecisive. Inexperienced. I hope they don't. I was literally going to say I hope they don't topple. So you need them lifted off the surface so that the resin can run down and under and then drip off. If you have them on a flat surface, then resin will still run down, but then it will gather. Now maybe with the latex on the back that won't matter, but I've always seen top coating and flood coating done. I think I have anyway, unless I'm getting confused between top coating and flood coating. I think I've always seen, whether it's top coating or flood coating, they have them elevated. I'm going to take a photo now just in case I ruin them. Please, please, please work. Hopefully that'll straighten up again anyway with the weight of the resin on this side. Yes. I need to make sure it goes all the way around, don't I? I need to make sure it floods over every side. And if that involves wasting some resin, so be it. Well, obviously we're going to involve wasting some resin. I guess the difference is whether you waste some or a lot. Run off in some areas and none on others. I'm going to have to mix up more resin. I'm just going to manipulate it a little bit, just where there's like a tiny strip, tiny thin strip of no resin ran. I'm just going to manipulate a bit over rather than have to flood them again. When I've finished, I will bring you down for a look so that you can see about how I need to protect the bottoms. I think they are fully flooded. Okay, I'll be back when I have mixed up some more. Okay, here we go again. What I should have done was do these two first, so that I could have collected up all the resin out of this nice clean mould and scraped that back in. Whereas these two, because I just use them for experiments, they're not the cleanest, but I could have saved some resin out of this one, but never mind. Right, have a little look around and see whether I can see any mist spots. Right, I'm not going to tempt fate by turning them again, but what I am going to do is grab my toothpick and try and dislodge any bubbles without knocking my pieces over. Where these ears are, there is a ridge, so a prime place for bubbles to get trapped. Nice 90-degree angles. I'm going to split that bubble into 3, 4. Oh, one just popped. Yay. Oh, keep making more bubbles. Actually, it's a bit of a shame to do a flood coat over especially the rabbit ears, because it'd have been nice to be able to feel those indents. So maybe I should have only flood coated the hearts to seal in the acetate. But again, you learn from your mistake, and it's not necessarily a mistake. You can still see the features, you just can't feel them. I'm convinced that this has gone too well. The whole project, not just the flood coating. Okay, so see what I mean about the dribbles underneath? I'm just going to do this to help me to see if there are any more. See, the flood coating looks uneven here. I will see you for final demold, the removal of the excess on the back, and hopefully get those screws back in for the keychains and put the magnets on the backs of the others, and then it will be a wrap. So thank you guys. I will see you quite probably in the morning for me now, but again it will be only a jiffy for you. Okay guys, we're almost at 2 hours again. I need to be quick. We had a casualty. The cat fell over and it fell onto its side, so it was still attached to the cup lid like that. So it had a great big flat piece of resin stuck here, but I caught it whilst it was still jellyish, so I was able to just kind of peel it off, or if I couldn't peel it, just my X-Acto knife just easily sliced it off. So I am sure I will be able to trim that up and coat it at some point. But I am so happy. These have turned out really smooth. I've got to take the backing off yet. I'm blown away. These are my most successful project ever in terms of finished results. Although seems to be a thicker line there. For some reason it hasn't run off smooth. But okay, let's get them cleaned up on the back. Oh, I didn't need my knife out. Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I do. Just finding. There we go. Maybe I don't need my knife. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Okay, the latex had ran in between the joins of the head and heart. Oh, don't go doing that with your knife. I think, yeah, I think this is latex as well. Okay guys, so I have cleaned them up. Lessons learned: just flood coat the hearts to seal in that acetate sheet. The heads don't really need it, I guess. Use PVA glue because that's thicker and would be easier to control. And I am still over the moon with those, and obviously that one I'll clean up later. Oh, I need to attach the paws, but I am literally running out of time on my recording, so I will attach those. I'll just use B7000 again. I'll attach those. I'll try and make these to be keychains again, and I'll try and make these to be magnets, and I will attach photos to the end of the video. Hang around for the glamour shots. Thank you very much for sticking with me. Please like, subscribe, comment and share. Thank you very much. See you next time.